Here we go. First part. So I'm here with somebody who looks a little bit like me, and this is my brother, middle brother, also a big music fan, and with different tastes, some overlap and some differences. Andrew, tell our listeners, our viewers, where you live, your exact address.
Yeah, I'm here in Toronto in lovely Riverdale.
What have you been doing, or kind of career wise? What have been the last few things that you've been involved in?
Well, for many years, I was in corporate banking overseas. When I got back to Toronto, I opened up an art gallery for 3 years, and for the last 7 or 8 years, I've been retired.
Nice. How would you describe your musical tastes? I.e., what kind of types of music do you listen to?
I found that with Spotify now, I'm able to kind of go outside of different genres. Recently I've been getting into African pop music as one example that I hadn't really sampled before. Um, Listening to a lot of new music, but I like female singers. I think I'm probably a bit more on the female singer side. I certainly love pop, rock. Yeah.
Okay. And what are some other kind of major interests of yours in your life?
Well, I'm very interested in refugees and the stories of migration. Art, obviously. I love reading. Film. Toronto's a great city to be a film lover. Um, Politics. I have too many newspaper subscriptions and have been reading those with care lately. So those would be some of my interests.
Perfect. So next up are the 10 questions that I ask all of the people that I'm interviewing, same 10 questions. So the first one, what record, and I know you're not a vinyl listener now because of your setup, so just you can plug in record or whatever to be basically the music you're listening on the streaming platforms or whatever. What record are you really enjoying these days, new or old, a front of the pile record, as it were?
Well, I've got back into exercising, and so I've been looking for high energy music. And as you heard me a moment ago, humming to myself, I've been finding BTO and Guess Who as fun music to exercise to. And even when I'm biking, Hey You and Let It Ride and Roll On Down the Highway. And so that's just sort of the first thing that pops into my mind.
Great. What's a favorite concert experience of yours?
Yeah, there are quite a few, I have to say. But certainly, I had the opportunity when I was about 17 years old. There was a last minute announcement for Elvis Costello to play at the El Macombo. And so a friend of mine on the day of the show, which was when it was announced, it was a thank you concert to Toronto because they had supported Elvis in his first album. So we skipped some classes and went over to the El Macombo, nervous because we were underage and without proper ID, proper fake ID. Anyways, we got tickets and we went that night to see Elvis Costello at the El Macombo, and it was so close to the stage because it's a small club, and it was wonderful.
What's a favorite Bowie record for you?
Um, I guess changes, because I'm not in the vinyl side of things. I don't always know the record but certainly like I love Life on Mars and Ziggy Stardust, and I'm not sure that those are actually on the Changes album, but those are a couple of songs I really love by Bowie.
Yeah, and I was going to say those two titles are actually one record. This is some brotherly love coming my way. What's one of the saddest songs ever?
Saddest songs ever. I love, sometimes I love to listen to sad music. But it's funny, I can't, sorry, I can't come up with that off the top of my head.
It's okay. Rapid fire. It's always a high wire act. One of the most joyful songs ever.
Um, Well, I've always loved what's so funny about Peace, Love, and Understanding. Both the Nick Lowe, who wrote the song, his version, which is more subdued, and certainly the Elvis Costello version, which really is a powerhouse. Another one would be People Have the Power, is one that I've been listening to a bit, thanks to a recommendation from somebody. And it just seems like it's a song that's pumping me up right now in these kind of political times.
A perfect first record of the day. So imagine you come downstairs, everybody's headed out of the house, you got to grab a cup of coffee and you want to put on a record or a song that is going to kickstart your day. What might that be?
Well, I really like, I've really been loving Angelique Kidjo and some of her kind of African pop music. Of course, she's like one of the grandmothers of, she would hate me to say that, but of African pop going back a number of years, but still producing albums. So, and other African music is very joyful, lots of great melodies, sometimes horns, which I love. And like you said a moment ago, quite optimistic music. So that would be lately what I've been listening to a lot.
What's one of the most underrated bands or artists ever for you?
God, I have to almost say like half of the Canadian bands, I just love, the Sky Diggers, and I always expected they were to like make it as a breakout. So let's say the Sky Diggers.
Van Morrison or Jackson Browne?
Van Morrison.
Joni Mitchell or Aretha Franklin?
That's tough. But lately, Aretha Franklin.
3 must-have desert island discs. You can either make them whole albums or songs that you would need to have if you were alone on a deserted island.
Yeah, well, I rediscovered I think it's the first Dexys Midnight Runners album, and I just find song after song is just killer. So that's In Search of the Young Soul Rebels by Dexys Midnight Runners. I would have to say, I think The Clash, London Calling, and I saw that concert, that tour, and it was an extraordinary concert for me. And the third one would be Van Morrison. I find he really holds up. I'm still listening to it quite a bit. Different records. I'm not sure. I don't know, like best of or something like that. If I have to choose one album.
Great. Now, the next are the 5 questions that are customized for you. The author happens to know you fairly well, so hopefully these are good questions. So number 1, what band from your past are you listening to more these days?
Well, Dexys Midnight Runners is on the big streaming list right now, and getting into the other records that I didn't know so well by them.
If you were to be a musician, what instrument would you play and what kind of music would you make?
I always thought like the drumming would be fun because it's a little bit back. I'm not like a front man, which I think would make me a bit nervous. And I understand you don't necessarily need to be able to read music as a drummer. So the lazy side of me thinks that might be my way in.
Great. And what kind of music would you play? Would it be rock? Would it be, sort of more folky stuff? I guess there's not a big drummer in the folk movement, but what kind of music? Would it be rock?
Yeah, it would. And I've always loved the kind of mods and the drums in the mods. And I also think about Husker Du has some great drumming. So, of course, from The Who, Keith Moon. And so I like that really hard, really lots of kind of drumming.
Female singers, as you mentioned earlier, you're a great fan of female singers. Pick an all-time favorite female singer and also pick a newish favorite female singer.
These kind of absolutes are challenging, right? But Mavis Staples, I think is very optimistic music, and I really love her. I'm thinking of that maybe from the past. And a female singer. Just drawing a blank. I mean, Ricky Lee Jones, Kate Bush, those would be two other ones I'm still listening to, and discovering new songs because of Spotify.
Great. And you also love cover songs. You've often talked about how much you love cover songs. Can you pick kind of a perfect cover song or one that really sticks out for you?
Yeah, I mean, one that I've often appreciated is I Can See Clearly Now, The Rain Has Gone, and so the different versions from some of the reggae versions. I think Peter Tosh or Jimmy Cliff did it, and Holly Cole does a beautiful version of it. So, and again, that's a kind of optimistic song that gives me some strength when I'm feeling a little down.
Great. Choosing a decade of music that if you were only able to listen to music from that decade, the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s, what decade would you choose?
Yeah, the 80s, I guess, and that's my sort of just over teenage years. So I think that's embedded itself. But I am finding that I'm listening to a lot of new music these days, so I hope I don't have to be restricted to one decade.
Nope, that's it. You can't listen to anything else. I've talked to the Spotify people, and they're shutting the other stuff down. Thank you very much for participating,
Thank
Brother
you.
Andrew.
Thank you.